So today we're going to have a look at how you guys can use some automation, specifically Process Builder in Salesforce, to create some tasks. So rather than typing in all the information, if we are pulling information from, say, a Salesforce record like an opportunity or a lead, if that information already exists, saves you retyping it out and allows you to quickly stay on top of things without forgetting them. Now, we usually get asked a lot of the times by customers going, how can we speed up this process? We're double entering data, and we also have a defined process where this needs to happen as part of a process that's dictated by a certain amount of days, whether that's business days or days in the week. So we can certainly go ahead and explore that as part of this video. Again, there'll be some extra formulas and things like that that you guys can use to create some automation suited specifically for you. However, as part of this video, we're going to have a look at a very simple use case on how you can create a task from an opportunity and have it pre-filled with a lot of the information just using one click in Salesforce.
Salesforce Space Station.
Once you're logged into Salesforce, we're going to go ahead and navigate to our test record. So we're going to use the opportunity in this instance. And I have gone ahead and created a test record called ABC Test Task. If I go to the Details tab, in here I've put in the opportunity name, the customer name, and of course we've got the amount and a few other fields filled in. Now for this particular example, we are going to create what's referred to as an automated task that will pull in some information related to this opportunity, like the amount. It will then go ahead and automatically create and relate the task to this opportunity. And once we go ahead and do that, we're going to put in the owner of the opportunity as the task assignee. So in order for us to do that, what we need to do is navigate to the back end of Salesforce. To do this, you go ahead, click on the gear or the cog wheel on the top right-hand corner and enter Setup. Once the new tab loads with Setup, you then navigate to Process Builder. So in here, I'm going to type in Process and navigate to Process Builder. Now remember, best practice is to always ensure that you have one Process Builder per object, and that ensures you don't get DLM issues and a few other items that might cause errors in Salesforce because multiple process builders or multiple processes are firing off at the same time. So in here, under the object, I can see that we've got an opportunity process. So I'm going to use the exact same one. For me to do so, I'm going to pick the active process, which is version 2, and I'm then going to clone it. Now, while cloning it, I'm going to make sure that it's running on the latest API version. And I'm going to click Save. Great. Now that we've got our cloned process builder ready, you'll notice that it's got the active button, which means that it is inactive, allowing us to make these changes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a brand new criteria. Now, for this criteria, I'm going to navigate to the front end again. And for this criteria, when the stage of the opportunity goes to qualification and it has been changed, we want to automate a task as a result for the opportunity owner. So when it comes to the criteria, I'm going to put in the stage name, stage change to qualification. I'm then going to select the field for stage, and I'm going to select that it equals qualification. In addition to that, I'm going to put in one more criteria to ensure that the stage has in fact changed. Because if it hasn't, and there are other items the sales agent's updating, it's going to go ahead and create multiple tasks. So I'm going to select stage again as the field in the criteria section. And this time I'm going to select the option under operator to select is changed. And we're going to select true. You can certainly add other conditions in here if you like, but as part of this, I think this is enough for this particular use case. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Now, once I've clicked Save, I then have to create the immediate action. And the immediate action under the action type means we're going to create a brand new record. And this record under the record type is going to be a task. So I'm going to give this action a name. I'm going to call it create task at qualification. Now, you'll notice that there are a set of field values that have automatically popped up. And the reason for that is these are the bare minimum that you need in order for you to create this particular task. So we've got country ISO code. Now, in our org, we've got multi-currency activated. And as a result, it's going to go ahead and ask us for that. It's then going to ask us for the assigned to ID, the priority, and then of course the status. But we're going to go ahead and add a number of other fields. So the first thing we're going to add is the subject, because we need to give this particular task a subject line. And followed by that, we're then going to add in a description. Once we add subject and description, we now have to give this particular task a due date. So we're going to add the field called due date only. And finally, we want to go ahead and add a reminder. And in here, we're going to say reminder set. And this way, it's just going to pop up with a reminder based on that particular due date. So the first thing we need is the country ISO code. Now, because this is a org that has multi-currency, the best way for us to do it is for us to pick field reference in the type and then select the country ISO code from the opportunity. So if you don't know what field you're looking for, just by clicking where it says type of field list, it'll give you a full list. So I'm going to keep scrolling down and I'm going to attempt to find the country ISO. Now, in this case, this is the opportunity currency. You'll notice the API name starts with country ISO. So I'm going to select that. I'm then going to ensure that this particular task is assigned to the owner of the opportunity. So I don't have to put in a flat ID. What I need to do again is select the field reference. And once I do that, I can come in here and type in OWN, and that'll give me the owner ID. The owner ID in the opportunity is usually the sales agent. I'm then going to give this a priority. And I think this needs to be a high priority because it is an automated task, which means it's more of a reminder. It's more of a opportunity for sales agent to ensure they're on top of this particular deal. I'm then going to go ahead and set the status to be not started. Once I do that, I'm going to set the subject. Now, the subject can certainly be set up as a string, which means it's just words. Or in this case, I'm going to put in a formula. So I'm going to put in, please follow up this deal worth. Now, because I'm putting this in as a formula and this is a string, I'm going to put it in inverted commas. Once I've done that, I'm going to add an extra space and I'm going to put a plus after it and I'm going to reference the amount field. So I'm going to click field and I'm going to put amount. So to me, this is what the name of the task will read. Please follow up this deal worth Australian dollar amount based on the currency. I'm then going to give it a description. And in the description, what I am going to do is I'm going to, again, put in a formula. So I'm going to say, ensure that you have collected all the relevant information, especially the key stakeholders, comma, use case for the customer, and any considerations as part of this deal. I'm then going to follow that up with ensure that you please try and close this deal by. Now, again, I'm going to essentially using concatenation, which is what we used under subject. I'm going to put this under inverted commas. I'm then going to click plus, and this time I'm going to add the field, the close date. So this should ultimately read, ensure that you have collected all the relevant information, especially the key stakeholders. Stakeholders should be one word, comma, use case for the customer, and any considerations as part of this deal. Ensure that you please try and close this deal by a particular date, whatever the close date is. So I'm going to click use formula. I'm then going to give this a due date. Now for the due date, I'm going to select formula again. And what we're going to do is we're going to create the due date for this 5 days, in exact 5 days from the day that it is updated to qualification. So in order for us to do that, I'm going to select today with brackets plus, and I'm going to add 5. And I'm going to select use this formula. Underneath that, for reminder set, I'm going to make it true. And finally, I do have to add one more field that I've forgotten, and that is the related to field. So this way it can properly relate this task back to the opportunity. So in here again, I'm going to select the field reference, and I'm going to this time select the opportunity ID. So I'm going to put an ID and keep scrolling down, and I should find a field called opportunity ID. The API name should just say ID. Now that I've put all this information in, I'm going to click save. Now, if you do have any errors like this, which is a great example, it's going to tell you that it's related to a particular formula or a particular field, and essentially what it's expecting and what it's receiving. So in here for the subject, what I have forgotten to do is I have forgotten to tag this as text, so that way it can be put to that particular field. And I've forgotten to do the exact same thing for the close date. So by using this tag called text in inverted commas and then putting the field name inside it, just means that it'll print as text. So now that I've made that subtle change, I'm going to click save again, and let's see if this goes ahead and allows me to create this automation. Awesome. So it has checked and validated things that I've put in, and it goes great. I can work with what you've given me. Now, remember, in terms of the process and the way the criteria fires, we need to reposition this. So this should be one of the first items that happen as a result. So I've just reordered it and made it one of the first nodes in this process builder. Again, if you have multiple process nodes, what you can do is you can click on the stop, and you can go ahead and select evaluate the next criteria. And this way, in the event there are multiple pieces of criteria, you can go ahead and ensure each one of them get actioned in an orderly manner. So now that we're done with our process builder, the next part for us to do is to activate this. So once I click activate, it is going to ask me to confirm that this is the correct version that I will be activating. Great. So now if I click on view all processes and go back to the opportunity process builder, you'll notice it's created a brand new version and the old one still exists, in the event we need to refer to something. Now that we've created our process builder, let's go ahead and test this out. So I've navigated back to the front end of Salesforce, and because I've just made the change, I'm going to refresh my page. Once I've done that, it'll load up by default with the activity section, and you can see that there are no activities in here. I'm just going to click on the filter, ensure that it's all time, all activities, and every single type of activity is ticked, and click save. Again, nothing in here, which is great. I'm going to validate and check a few things. So the close date is the 31st of the 5th. The amount is Australian dollars 10,000. We've got a name for the opportunity. And those are all the things that we need to check. So in terms of the one click, I'm sorry, it ends up being 2 because you have to actually select something in order for you to save the record. So what I'm going to do is, in the path itself, I'm going to select qualification and click mark as current stage. As soon as I've done that, it has gone ahead, updated the opportunity. It's given me a green success message. And if we go to the activity section, we now have a brand new task. So let's go in and have a look at this particular task. I'm going to open up the task in a brand new tab. And in here, I can see, please follow up this deal worth 10,000. It's got a due date of the 8th of the 5th, which is 5 days from today. It has a status of not started. It's got the priority of high. It's got the currency value set as Australian dollars. And in here, it's gone ahead and added that description as well. So now it says, ensure that you have collected the relevant information, especially the key stakeholders, essentially what we put in. And at the end of it, it's got the date in the American format. Now, that's how simple and that's how easy it is when it comes to creating some automated tasks within the system. If I go ahead back to the opportunity, and let's just say I add in a product. Let's use the standard price book, and let's just pick one of the default products that exist. I'm just going to select a random one. I'm going to put 1,000 in here. Oops. Sorry, 10,000. I'm going to put a quantity of 1, so that way it doesn't change the overall price of the opportunity. And in terms of next steps, I'm just going to say, follow up. And in here, we've got Betty Blair. For considerations. So remember, the stage is still at qualification, and I'm going to click save. The reason I'm doing this is to just double check and ensure that it's not creating a series of tasks continuously each time it's updated at this particular stage. So based on this, if I click refresh, we can see it's creating no more tasks. Now, if you're interested in finding out more about a few different formulas that you could use, we'll put the link to this particular cheat sheet that we use. I'm going to open that in a brand new tab and navigate up there. In here, this is a PDF essentially, and it has examples of advanced formula fields. And what you can do if you were after things like business days as opposed to normal weekdays, you can set that up as an example as part of that due date. You could also do some cool, funky things in other ways if you needed to, using this particular advanced formula fields article or PDF. And you can certainly create some additional variables or criteria, or even do some really cool things when it comes to manipulating the way the text shows up and what it picks up. Great, so that's it for me for this particular episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it was fun. Thanks. Hey guys, please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe to the channel if you like it. Also, please don't forget to go ahead and share this with anyone that you think might benefit from it, especially all those brand new up and coming Salesforce gurus. And as always, you can find some more episodes right here.